Okay, hello, welcome back. Today, a very special topic, and I did a video about this topic as one of my first videos, but I think I should go into this again. This time with a different approach, because we go over several decades of releases and music styles, because I think that's appropriate for this topic. And I would like to talk about original pressings versus audiophile remaster or remaster. It's not always labeled as audiophile remaster, and I think that's, for some, it's quite an emotional topic, which I do not completely get. Because maybe let's start with the most important thing, in my opinion. An original is an original. Yeah, now sounds a bit redundant, a bit stupid, but come on, there only can be one original pressing. In some cases you have German, French, US, British and on pressings, but you know what I'm getting at. This is an icon. This is in some cases something really, really, really special. You know, remaster, audiophile remasters, they can be done anytime in a way. Of course not Monday, Tuesday and Wednesday, but you know what I'm getting at. An audiophile remaster or a remaster can be done eventually. An original pressing is something very, very special and unique. So, that said, I will concentrate in my video, probably not that surprising, I will concentrate on the sound quality. Are there some rules, some generalizations in specific music genres or decades, where you can say, for this genre, for this decade, the original is better in most cases, or the audiophile remaster is better in several cases, or in the most cases. And we just start with early music in a way. Let's take this example. Let's take this fantastic John Coltrane Blue Note release from, I should know that, but I'm bad with that thing, 1957. What I have here is the outstanding, fantastic Music Matters Jazz SRX version of John Coltrane's Blue Train. I recently had the luck again and could compare it to not only this one, 7 other releases against originals, real original first pressings in very good shape. And we immediately agree that the audiophile remasters sounds better, and that's not surprising in a way, because first, technology has advanced, and in the case of the Blue Notes, in our homes, the technology has advanced, which means that they can cut these jazz releases nowadays much hotter, much more, they can give them much more punch, because our needles doesn't flip from the turntable when there is too much pressure on them due to the bass or whatever. So this gives the remaster person and the pressing the opportunity to go full throttle in a way, and that of course helps. And that may be one of the reasons why I'm still say that when it comes to jazz, Blue Note, Impulse, Prestige, stuff like that, the audiophile remasters from Analog Production, Music Matters Jazz, Tone Poets, Classic, they have their quality problems, but they do sound better than the original, but still, of course. And An original from John Coltrane's Blue Train. Hey, come on, of course. That's an iconic item. Can't compare it to a silly audiophile remaster, but you can compare the sound. And that is my point, that in the case of early jazz recordings, the audiophile remasters are much better. Because imagine, the way they recorded this music, in my opinion, was the best way to record a record. Even the microphones had tubes. So, a dream, an audiophile dream in a way. And here, those companies can really go for it, and that's what they do, and that's what they do in a great way. So, sound-wise, jazz, my opinion, audiophile remasters are significantly much better. Okay, couple decades later, or decade later, Marvin Gaye, What's Going On? One Step Mo-Fi. You know, this is probably the best sounding version of this album once more. You know, if these big guns, Mo-Fi, Analog Productions, Impacts, Intervention, if they go for a title like this one, then you can expect an outstanding outcome. Then you can expect that you will get a great pressing. The only decision you have to do is, am I willing to pay $125 for this release? Or am I going to an early pressing? But then here it starts. Of course, here are a couple of hundred different pressings. You really have to be into it. You really have to dig into it. Which are good pressings? Which early pressings make sense? You have to know that, okay, this is manageable after some time, but then you have to find a good copy, because the people when they bought their Marvin Gaye, What's Going On, they had the bad habit, they listened to that record on and on and on and on. And to find a good copy is not that easy. So for lazy people like me, I say, hey, cool, go for it. You can be sure, okay, you can get unlucky, but usually you get a good copy, sounds outstanding, you're on the safe side. For lazy people like me, perfect choice. Okay, a little later on, and now things change. Take for example this album, this band, the Beatles. You all know them, hundreds of different copies, hundreds. To my knowledge, the best copies, the best pressings are the very, very, very early pressings. I haven't heard many, I've heard 3, and they really do sound good. And then after that, you probably don't have that much hot copies, and on the way they make the damn silly, stupid decision to lock off the original tapes. Come on! Even those glorified Mo-Fis, I've heard them. I don't think that they are so good. Also, this remaster that comes from Abbey Road, in a way, they are a joke. They are a joke. They try to hide it with a T-shirt or an action figure or a book, but the pressings are okay, but not more. Far from great. And of course, when it comes to the Beatles, I'm quite sure that the originals are the way to go. Okay, the mono box set, we all know this is great. But I think if you have the money, the time and the luck, I think when it comes to the Beatles, the originals are the way to go. But it gets worse. It gets worse. Rolling Stones. I've made a video about these half-speed masters. Told you that I really think that this is an insult pressed on vinyl. How they dare to give the public these remasters. I will never understand that. And as a good friend of mine is a huge Rolling Stones fan, and I asked him, where can I get good copies? What shall I look for? What should I look for when it comes to the Rolling Stones? And he said, Rolling Stones, early British pressings. Doesn't have to be the first pressings, but he said go for the early British pressings, and then you are on the safe side. But here again, you just have the trouble to find a decent, clean, and not so scratched copy. But yeah, what can you do? And then, of course, last decade we are going in late 70s, early 80s. For example, let's take this Siouxsie and the Banshees, the Scream, just as an example for the whole genre, for the whole area, at least here in Europe. You have okay remaster, re-releases. For example, the Bauhaus aren't that bad. They are beautiful, they are nice. But try to go for the original. 2 reasons. One reason, they sound very often slightly better, more punch, more bass. For example, the Sade, also this half-speed master BS. Also here they did half-speed masters over at Abbey Road from Siouxsie and the Banshees. Forget them, don't go into them. The originals you can get for good money, fair priced. They pressed millions of them in the time, and they sound better, simply better. And you find them, they are still out there. Same with Depeche Mode, The Cure. You find those releases, and they sound great. What is a little downside to me, but that is just cosmetic. The vinyl is very thin, but that has nothing to do generally how does it sound? Does it sound bad? No. So for the 80s, really go for the originals. Sometimes you find them so cheap and in very decent, very good condition. I bought that one over at Great Britain. Perfect copy. I mean, my God, this is a 41-year-old record, and the shape is outstanding. So when it comes to the 80s, I'd go for sure for the originals. Maybe if MoFi puts out, they sometimes do that. For example, the Yazoo, they put out some Yazoo, and they are great. Tears for Fears, and they are great. The Dead Can Dance from MoFi are fantastic, really fantastic. But the originals aren't also great. So be careful when it comes to remastered 80s stuff. Just look out the original. Usually you get them easily. So that's my take on things when it comes to originals versus audiophile remaster or remasters in general. Okay, let's discuss. See you on my next video. Thank you. Bye.